aside all private interests, prejudices, and partial affections, the result of all our counsels may be to the glory of thy blessed name, the maintenance of true religion and justice, the safety, honor, and happiness of the Queen, the public weal, peace, and tranquility of the island, and the uniting and knitting together of the hearts of all persons and estates within the same, in true Christian love and charity, one towards another, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
This Honorable House now resumes its sitting. Call of the roll.
Mrs. Holness, Mr. Bartlett, Mr. Holness, Dr. Clark, Dr. Chang, Mr. Montague, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Samuda, Ms. Grange, Mrs. Williams, Mrs. Mallow-Fort, Dr. Tufton, Mr. McKenzie, Mr. Chuck, Mr. Vaz, Mr. Warmington, Mr. Hutchinson, Mr. Charles, Mr. Terry Long, Ms. Smith, Mr. Main, Dr. Dunn, Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Davis, Mr. Brown, Dr. Brown-Burke, Dr. Charles, Mr. Chin, Mr. Henry, Mr. Clark, Mr. Cousins, Ms. Crawford, Ms. Daly, Ms. Davis, Mr. Golding, Mr. Graham, Mr. Green, Dr. Guy, Ms. Hamilton, Ms. Hannah, Mr. Henriquez, Mr. Henry, Mr. Hilton, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Lawrence, Ms. Lee, Mr. Miller, Ms. Morrison, Mrs. Nita Garvey, Mr. Paulwell, Mr. Phillips, Dr. Phillips, Mr. Robertson, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Sibbles, Mr. Slowly, Mrs. Vaz, Dr. Wheatley, Mr. Williams, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Witter, Mr. Wright, Mr. Chuck.
Statements by ministers. House Leader. Minister.
Madam Speaker, today statements by Minister by the Honorable Robert Montague. Thank you.
Is there a copy for the opposition, Minister?
Yes, Madam. Madam Speaker, before I do this statement, if you will allow me to extend on behalf of my family our gratitude to the Clerk of the House, to yourself and to the members on both sides for the words of comfort and support during my recent bereavement. We, as a family, are grateful for the many thoughts of comfort from all walks of Jamaica. And those sentiments helped to carry us through as a family. And Madam, I'd also use this opportunity to urge every Jamaican, every citizen, to take the vaccine, because too many families are suffering great loss. As a matter of fact, there is a family in my constituency of Western St. Mary, Jerry, up in Top Road, Jeffreytown, who at approximately 9:30 lost her mother, and within an hour lost her only daughter. And there are too many families like that who are struck by this pandemic and the virus. And therefore, I urge every Jamaican to make up their mind, to make the choice to take the vaccine. I urge them not only to depend on faith, but to vaccinate. Madam Speaker, because of my bereavement and the summer recess and my quarantine period, I was not able to make some of these statements. There are 3 statements, and I seek your indulgence and patience. I wish to advise this Honourable House of a recent development which has significant implications for the future of Noranda Jamaica Bauxite Partners, which is headquartered in Discovery Bay, St. Ann. The House would be aware that on September 6, 2018, the Government of Jamaica and New Day Aluminum Jamaica Limited signed an establishment agreement which prevented the closure of the bauxite mining operations headquartered at Dunn, Discovery Bay, St. Ann. This saved the jobs of over 500 workers and contractors and resulted in the creation of Noranda Jamaica Bauxite Partners II, which is a joint venture between the Government of Jamaica, which owns 51%, and New Day Aluminum Jamaica Limited, which owns the remaining 49%. Madam Speaker, the government's 51% interest in Noranda Jamaica Bauxite Partners II is managed by the government-owned Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited. The profit share agreement between the Government of Jamaica and New Day, which was largely in lieu of the bauxite production levy, extended the agreement to include the operations of New Day's alumina refinery in Gramercy, Louisiana, United States. By largely departing from the bauxite production levy in favor of a profit share regime, the Government of Jamaica was entitled to 17.3% of the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization of the company's local bauxite operations and the alumina refinery in Gramercy, in Louisiana. Madam Speaker, in a letter dated June 11, 2021, Concord Resources Limited informed me of its intention to acquire a controlling interest in New Day. Additionally, Madam Speaker, in a letter dated July 14, 2021, New Day Aluminum Jamaica Limited informed the Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited and other Government of Jamaica members on their executive committee, which guides the management of Noranda, that effective July 1, Concord Resources Limited had acquired the majority ownership interest in New Day Alumina from the other shareholders in the Dada Holding Group. Pursuant to this transaction, Concord Resources Limited had acquired the majority interest in New Day Aluminum Jamaica Limited. Concord Resources Limited is a metals trading firm which focuses on the distribution, supply chain, and risk management of non-ferrous metals and raw materials. Headquartered in London, the company operates offices in New York, Hong Kong, and serves customers worldwide. Madam Speaker, I have congratulated Concord on its takeover of New Day and their bauxite operations in Louisiana, and welcome the company to the island. The Government of Jamaica Mining Minerals Negotiation Team, which comprises representatives of the Ministry of Transport and Mining, the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, Tax Administration Jamaica, the Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited, the Jamaica Bauxite Institute, the Commissioner of Mines, and the Attorney General's Chambers commenced negotiations with Concord on August 11, 2021. Arising from the first part of our negotiations with the company, the following main points have been agreed. 1, the Government of Jamaica will reinstate the bauxite production levy. It should be noted that both parties are against the continuation of the profit share regime. 2, the asset usage fee debt. The asset usage fee debt of $3.4 million owed to the Jamaica bauxite mining by New Day will be paid in full by Concord. Concord has already paid half of this amount on the 10th of September 2021. The remaining portion is to be paid by the end of October 2021. These funds would have been paid earlier had Hurricane Ida not impacted the company's operations in Louisiana on Sunday, August 29. There are various other matters that have been discussed and agreed. However, given the nature of the negotiations, I will refrain from speaking on them at this time. The negotiations are to resume on October 6, 2021 to allow for the fashioning of an agreement that effectively treats with Concord's investment in our bauxite industry. Madam Speaker, I expect that Concord Resources Limited will be a good investor in Jamaica's bauxite industry. As such, I expect that there will be opportunities for further investment in Jamaica and tangible benefits from the relationship which we will build with this company. As the new investors have moved to take hold of their investment, I assure you that my team will open and maintain direct communication with all stakeholders. Importantly, the team will be guided by 4 core principles. 1, protect the interests of our workers and all other stakeholders. 2, protect the environment. 3, facilitate increased investment in the bauxite and related industries. And 4, safeguard and increase the country's revenue generated from the use of its mineral wealth. It is my intention, Madam Speaker, to provide an update to the House once our negotiations with Concord Resources Limited have been completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes, I want to thank the Minister on this update in relation to the acquisition by Concord Resources Limited. And to say first thing off the bat, we on this side, we are happy that we're seeing the reinstitution of the bauxite levy. It was a matter that we had significant problem with when your predecessor entered into the agreement with New Day for a profit-sharing arrangement. We understand how business works, and it is quite unlikely, as we said at the time, that you're going to realize profits enough to get your 17 or so % from those arrangements. And it might be useful, Minister, if you could just advise us, how much have we earned from that arrangement? Our prediction was that it would be minimal in comparison to the levy, which is quite established and based on a clear formula. So probably you could indicate to us that. So I'm happy that we are going back to a bauxite levy, and perhaps, Minister, you might want to, in reflecting on the other operations elsewhere, I know that you have another statement to make, it might be, the time might be here when we abolish all arrangements such as this one where you're sharing profits, which is quite meaningless, and go back to a strict imposition of the bauxite levy. That bauxite levy has been in place to protect communities where a number of members of parliament represent that have been ravaged by mining operations, and for which the levy was established and did serve and has served to provide some recourse, some means of rehabilitation, some means of reinvesting in these communities. And it is only the bauxite levy that could do so. In that same way, Minister, and I know it's a very difficult time for the industry, but you and I agree that aluminum as a metal is here for the future. It's one of those metals that's renewable, it is versatile, and I don't see in the near future that the world won't need aluminum. And because the world will need aluminum, they will need bauxite and aluminum. And we have allowed our advantage to dissipate over time. Jamaica was the #1 bauxite country for some time. We've allowed other places, Guinea and elsewhere, to overtake us. But one of the dreams of Michael Manley was to see how developing countries could cooperate, just as how the oil-producing countries formed OPEC, and they were able to use that mechanism to safeguard their primary product, oil. We did start an initiative in the 70s with Mr. Manley to establish a worldwide bauxite association. And the thinking at the time, which is still relevant now, is that sometimes we give away our raw material without realizing the true value. That aluminum cannot be smelted if you don't have bauxite. And I think we sometimes diminish in our own minds the value of what we have here, and our people do not benefit sufficiently from this raw material that is providing the world with so much wealth. I don't want to harp back to the concept of the new economic order, the new international economic order. But I want to suggest, Minister, and in 2015, we did try to resurrect this concept of a World Bauxite Association to get all the bauxite-producing countries to come together to see how we can cooperate so that rather than using the London Metal Exchange, which determines the price of aluminum, we can have an exchange that is separated from aluminum and have bauxite as a primary product that is traded in this way and to which greater value is attached. I think the time has come, and that's why I really want to reassert my position in relation to the levy. When you dig up that soil, that is value that you're taking out of the country, and people should pay for it the minute that soil is turned. The minute it is turned, that is tremendous value, so that the country can benefit. I like the idea of the focus on the environment, because we have to admit, for me, mining is an essential and important economic activity. But I don't believe that we have been the best custodians of the mining over the last 50 or so years in terms of the environment. Yes, we weren't as aware, perhaps, and I believe that as you formulate the new role for the Jamaica Bauxite Institute, the environment must be a primary focus of theirs, because a lot more can be done. When some of these lands are mined out, people regard it as totally bereft of value, no agricultural value. But that is not true. That is not so. It should not be so. We should insist that these lands be completely rehabilitated to enable production, agricultural production, to take place. And in my time, I did see at Naranda, they established high-tech agricultural ventures out of these mined-out lands. And the yields were significant. I would love if in adopting these objectives, you would get them to focus on agriculture and probably give out some timely report. Probably those reports could be sent to the Economic and Production Committee for us to monitor, because a lot more can be done. You know, I didn't realize recently that Windalco, they are the second largest producer of milk in Jamaica. We can do similarly on some of these lands. And I'm urging that in this arrangement with Concord, that be a focus. So, Minister, if you could just respond to what has been achieved in terms of the profits, and finally, importantly, you know we went and fought a battle in London, the arbitration against Noranda, and we expended a lot of effort and resources. We won that battle, and we were supposed to get a significant payment out of that. I would like to know whether or not that is going to be incorporated in this new arrangement, or if it has been paid by the outgoing company to date. Thank you, Minister.
Minister, let me just for clarity, just understand whether this represents a shift in policy back to what the production levy operation generally for the entire sector, or is this a case-by-case situation? Because I'm aware that when the New Day arrangement was put in place, that was not an overall shift of policy. That did not apply necessarily to all the operators. So I want to know if this reflects a new thinking and a policy shift on the part of the government, so that we can expect that this is what will be applied generally throughout the industry.
Thank you very much. Let me deal with the member from Western St. Andrew first. There was no shift in the policy with regards to the levy. The Noranda operation was a part of a negotiated one-off situation. And as minister, I have sought to go back to the levy regime. And it is my intention at every opportunity to stay true to the policy of the government. And therefore, even with the incorporation that we are ongoing with at Jamaica, the levy regime will be a part of that. And Windalco is under the levy regime. They have in the past gotten waivers, but they are under the levy regime. And as well as GISCO, they have gotten a waiver, and GISCO is enjoying a waiver, but they are still under the levy regime. With regards to the amounts earned from the profit share, I will undertake to do the research and get back to you. And I want to point you to the Life After Bauxite project by the Jamaica Bauxite Institute that is utilizing greenhouse technology and using some of the mined-out pits for the storage of water for a number of communities. And I am one. We are working through JBI with the Jamaica Castor Oil Growers Association to utilize these mined-out lands for the production of castor oil. As you are well aware, Madam Speaker, I'm sure you're aware that the Jamaican castor oil is like hot gold, in the black gold, in the cosmetology industry worldwide. I have seen in New York products known as Jamaican castor oil, but made in Thailand. So the Jamaican name is a brand, and what we want to see is that that brand becomes made in Jamaica. The government will underline and continue our commitment and hard work with the environment. As a matter of fact, the initiatives we have taken with the environment has earned this administration the environment government, because we have put protected areas in place, we have put one-off plastic usage in place. We are the administration. This administration is the administration that stepped up and had the cockpit country declared a protected area. A lot of persons came and talked before. We have walked the talk, and we remain committed to sustainable development, and we are happy that you are recognizing it and moving with us. I will ignore that comment. Madam Speaker, my next statement will also answer one of the concerns of my colleague from East Kingston and Port Royal. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform you of the government's continued program to provide citizens with formal training and certification in the management of mining operations as we continue our drive to develop the country's mining sector. Friday, September 17, 2021, marked another milestone in the country's efforts to develop its mining and mineral sector. On that day, the University of Technology, Jamaica's national university, launched its Bachelor of Science in Mine and Quarry Management. This is another example of the government's commitment to the provision of tertiary level training and certification of the human resources required to develop the sector. Madam Speaker, mineral extraction and mineral development require, among other inputs, trained and qualified personnel. The quality of our human resources will help to ensure efficiency, sustainability, environmental compatibility, safety, and profitability of our mining sector. In line with this realization, during the 2018-2019 sectoral presentations, I announced the government of Jamaica's plan to create a mining school and a national minerals institute. With respect to the mining school, in partnership with the Council of Community Colleges of Jamaica, in 2019, we commenced the training of quarry managers and supervisors at the Kingston campus of the Excelsior Community College. Madam Speaker, I noted during the sectoral presentation then that it was the government of Jamaica's intention to, over a number of years, lift the standard of human resources within the mining sector and to, I quote, eventually train and certify all the persons who work in the sector, end of quote. I noted then too that the management of a mine or a quarry required proper record keeping, strong health and safety systems, equipment selection and maintenance, resource evaluation, land rehabilitation, energy efficiency, among other areas of focus, while reducing any negative impact on the environment and protecting our people's health. I promise that these and other issues would form the base of the curriculum that we, in collaboration with the Council of Community Colleges, were in the process of developing. I am pleased to report that these are some of the foundation subjects in the UTech curriculum for the Bachelors of Science in Mine and Quarry Management. Madam Speaker, I was pleased to have been involved in the launch of the BSc in Mines and Quarry Management. I am pleased that the government of Jamaica has led the way in ensuring that at the highest level of the education system, Jamaica begins to train the mining and quarry specialists that it will require. Madam Speaker, the development of UTech's BSc benefited from grant funding under the African, Caribbean, and Pacific States European Union ACP EU Development Minerals Program that the government of Jamaica was able to secure and has implemented in Jamaica since 2016. This program is currently in its second three-year stint. I thank the governments of our fellow ACP countries that, like Jamaica, lobbied for and helped to formulate the ACP EU Development Minerals Program. I also wish to thank the EU for funding the program and the United Nations Development Program that has been its implementer in Jamaica. Madam Speaker, colleagues, mining is a substantial part of Jamaica's economy. The vast majority of our minerals to create the physical infrastructure, including the buildings, roads, bridges, coastal defense system that the country will require, will be provided by the mining sector. Mining, particularly the quarrying segment, is one of those areas of economic activity that will grow even during periods of weak national economic performance. This is so as minerals such as cement, sand, gravel, stones, and cladding materials are needed to maintain our physical infrastructure. Madam Speaker, I invite this Honourable House to take note of the development of the University of Technology's Bachelor of Science in Mining and Quarry Management, and to join me in saluting our national university for this groundbreaking achievement in the English-speaking Caribbean.
Madam Speaker, again, let me thank the Minister for this update on an important initiative, one that will no doubt benefit the country. When we speak of mining and quarrying, we almost exclusively focus on bauxite and aluminum. And it has been so because of how the industry has developed. And thankfully, in relation to bauxite and aluminum, we've seen investments in human resources over many, many decades that we have been involved. The operations are highly technical, and they do require highly trained people. And in fact, we have seen other countries benefiting from our human resources. When we are seeing a decline here, many of the jobs are taken up elsewhere by Jamaicans. So we have to acknowledge that there has been tremendous training in human resource development. But it hasn't been so for the wider mining sector. And so this is a good initiative. I think yes, one that had its origination recently. But, Madam Speaker, I want to say to the Minister, and I've seen the curriculum that is developing, and I'm not too sure if embedded in that curriculum is a focus on what comprised 90% of this country, limestone. We have overlooked that aspect of our mining industry to our detriment. Jamaica has some of the finest quality limestone that can be used in value-added production, the manufacturing of paint, chalk, pharmaceuticals. You would know that. And I don't think we have explored that enough and developed it enough. And I think the time has come for that to happen. And Minister, you know that there has been a preoccupation with waste, and especially waste in the bauxite aluminum sector. We see so much of this as we travel across the country. Yoaton, Kirkvine, at Jamalco, at Alpart. Thousands of acres of red mud. And we had done significant development in relation to rare earth elements, but there's a lot more, I believe, that should be done in terms of how we address what, for me, is an important resource, that red mud. Up to recently, we're seeing other countries looking to utilize that red mud into road construction, into extraction of iron, and recently to rare earth elements. When I got up and spoke about rare earth elements, it created tremendous mirth, and people are still smiling about it. But Minister, there's a lot of wealth being exposed to the elements. And I'm hoping that the universities, because that's what you have universities for. It's not for us to come here and develop these concepts. It's the universities. And these waste deposits have been an eyesore for decades. And I'm urging that as we contemplate developing our human resources here, and quite laudable your focus on the environment, I believe the waste management and the utilization of waste for production should be an aspect that we should focus on. So I want to urge that as you launch this very exciting project at the University of Technology. Thank you.
I thank the member for his kind words and especially his appeal for us to look at waste management, which we are. There have been a lot of announcements about extraction of rare earth minerals, even recently. And when we checked, it was just that, an announcement. And we are cognizant of the fact, and as a matter of fact, I've challenged the Mines and Geology Department to do a desk study on what else, because if you look at all the elements that go in, all the chemical elements, there must be some good that is in there. It can't be all bad that it is producing. So we are aware and we are working to find some productive use for what is now known as waste, but it may in the future become a great asset to this country. Madam Speaker, as the member spoke of limestone, I want to empathize with him and to commend him for his bravery, for publicly admitting his failure as a minister, for overlooking that great resource that we have. But I can assure him that this administration is expanding the medical limestone industry. We're expanding the industrial limestone industry. We have zoned parts of the country into quarrying zones. So we are doing a lot of work with limestone, and we are training the quarry managers to make sure the quarries meet up to modern day standards. We have also expanded on the licensing regime to give 10-year license, not a 1-year or a 2-year, so that they can approach the financial institutions and be properly collateralized. Madam Speaker, this Honourable House and indeed the country are aware of the major fire that occurred at the Jamaica Alumina Refinery in Clarendon just over a month ago on Sunday, August 22, 2021. Before I go further, Madam Speaker, I must publicly express the government's deep gratitude to the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Minister, and to the employees of Jamaica and their contractors who assisted in extinguishing the fire. We are also grateful that there were no major injuries or deaths arising from the incident. Madam Speaker, vital assets were destroyed in that fire, including the powerhouse, 2 turbine generators, turbine generator control equipment, 2 control rooms, and a fuel oil pump station. Other types of equipment were also damaged during the fire. Madam Speaker, the fires caused alumina production to stop, and this will have a very negative impact on the company and the wider economy. There will be a decline in the alumina production and the related foreign exchange earnings for 2021 into 2022 and possibly into 2023. This is already having a direct effect on the finances of the Clarendon Alumina Production Limited, as the company will not earn any income until alumina production resumes. Jamalco has property and plant insurance coverage amounting to $250 million to address single incidents such as this fire. In addition to the property damage, the insurance policy covers extra expenses and business interruption. Currently, the refinery's losses are estimated at $500,000 per day, based on Jamalco's production cost of $150 per ton of alumina at a production rate of 3,170 tons per day. The company has already submitted a claim for $150 million for business interruption which is expected to meet its monthly expenses for 10 months, out of an estimated 18-month period of care and maintenance of the property. The Jamaica Fire Brigade has released the site, and the insurers have completed preliminary investigations. I am therefore heartened to advise, Madam Speaker, that the insurers are to release an advance payment of US $25 million to Jamalco. Additionally, Jamalco has given notice of force majeure to its suppliers, including New Fortress Energy, which supplies steam to the company, that it will be unable to take products or pay invoices. The duration of this period is to be determined. Jamalco's workers, suppliers, contractors, and other stakeholders are also feeling the heat from this devastating event. Working capital will be needed to allow the company to execute various activities necessary to continue effectively managing the refinery, continue land rehabilitation, and various other activities associated with the running of the mining and aluminum manufacturing operations. CAP may well need to call on the government of Jamaica to enable it to cover its 45% of any reconstruction expenses that might be necessary. In the midst of all this, Madam Speaker, I am saying that and letting the House know that we don't anticipate a call on the government resources, but we're just letting it know that it may happen. In the midst of this, Madam Speaker, there is hope. As a matter of immediate action, Jamalco is making every effort to retain its staff, including direct employees and contractors. Currently, mining contractors are working 3 days per week. Contractors involved in mothballing, which is the process of protecting the undamaged assets until they are ready to be used again, are winding down their activities. Additionally, residue storage area contractors for the dike repairs will be engaged over the coming months. With respect to the fundamental recovery process, Jamalco will be implementing a 3-stage resumption model, which will provide the best results for all stakeholders. It will increase the speed with which the company's employees and contractors are returned to full-time employment and provide the company with the income it needs to once again make a significant contribution to the lives of the people of Central Jamaica and the wider economy. Madam Speaker, Stage 1 will involve the refinery being returned to action as a single digester operation, mostly utilizing existing infrastructure. It will be necessary to rent several package boilers for low-pressure steam and to replace the high-voltage infrastructure. This phase is already being implemented, Madam Speaker, starting with the demolition of the segments of the powerhouse. Other key activities during this phase include environmental cleanup, engineering assessment of remaining structures, power and electric reconstruction, mechanical and civil structure reconstruction, return to the service of the main steam turbine, and we will also increase our buy of energy from the JPS. The capital required for this stage is approximately US $19 million. The construction timeline is at the end of June 2022 and should result in the resumption of alumina production at approximately 50% of the plant's capacity. Madam Speaker, operating at this level of the refinery's capacity will result in financial losses. However, it is significantly better than keeping the plant closed for at least another 7 months, during which the company would be required to continue the very expensive care and maintenance of the facilities while earning no income. It is also hoped, Madam Speaker, that a part of the losses will be made up out of the $150 million business interruption insurance. During Stage 2, the plant will be moved to a 2-digester operation. The objective is to significantly reduce reliance on the Jamaica Public Service Company and improve power plant reliability by switching to the rental of gas turbines. Further analysis is required to determine the cost of this phase, which will be completed within 9 months of Stage 1. Madam Speaker, Stage 3 is a long-term solution for Jamaica and is intended to significantly improve its efficiency, as well as to make it more competitive with other refineries globally. A new gas-powered powerhouse with heat recovery is to be built to replace the rented boilers. Extensive option analysis is required to determine whether it should be Jamaica's owned or it should be an outsourced power plant. The cost of this stage is still to be determined. It is our intention to establish a small monitoring task force to ensure that we get value for money and all stages of implementation follow strict guidelines and timelines. In addition, Madam Speaker, we are using this downtime to rapidly advance the process of incorporation. It is vitally important that before we get to full recovery, incorporation of Jamaica is achieved. This fire has underlined the risk to our budget if incorporation is not done quickly. The government of Jamaica is committed to this objective. Madam Speaker, this fire has had a devastating impact on a critical sector of our economy. I want to assure the House and the country that the process of recovery has already been initiated and the opportunities for implementing the long-term vision for the company will minimize business risk are being grasped. I especially want to assure the immediate stakeholders, including the communities affected by the fallout from the fire, that every effort is being made not only to restore what was lost, but to build back stronger and to create a more productive and resilient sector. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Madam Speaker, this is indeed bad news, and I'm sure the applause was probably for your delivery, but this is bad news for the country. I want to share in acknowledging that it could have been a lot worse, based on what I understood, the extent of the fire, the fact that people were around, but we did not see any, well, certainly no loss of life. So I also want to commend the fire service and the employees who responded very quickly to what could have been a major tragedy in terms of loss of life. So we're glad for that. But this is devastating news for an industry that has gone through bad times. And I speak of Alpart. Alpart has been shut for 2 years, and we're not sure when that is going to be reopened. And you know, it is ironic because today the price of alumina is much higher than it has been for a number of years. The recent activities in Guinea has caused the price of bauxite to rise and alumina as well. So it now would have been a good time for all our enterprises in this area to be at full throttle. Unfortunately, not so. And it's not only the over 1,000 jobs directly and indirectly at Jamaica that will be affected, but you have a place like Rugby, a chemical lime plant that supplies raw material for the bauxite, for the alumina process at Jamaica. 80% of their business relates to Jamaica. So those jobs are going to be on the line. And Minister, I know for Minister it's not easy to come and spell out the worst case. You spell out the best case. I have to bring you back down to reality. You mentioned 2022, you mentioned 2023, you mentioned stage 1, stage 2, without specific timelines. Stage 3 is the ultimate. I pray that you are correct. I fear that you are not. In these matters, when you have to be dealing with insurance claims, when you have to deal with clearing land, starting rehabilitation process, a lot of time is lost. And I really hope that we can get the plant back, even to that first stage where you get back one of the digesters in place. But my fear is that you might not achieve that, and ultimately you have to go to the third phase, which is a total rehabilitation and trying to get to maximize the efficiency of the plant, almost to a new plant, which could take you into year 3 or 4. There are some issues. Firstly, I want to start with the waste, the red mud, because one of the ways of maintaining the red mud to acceptable standards is by the production. As you continue to produce, then water goes into the system, and it prevents dust. It enables better management of the red mud lake. And Minister, I wonder if you have addressed, or the company has addressed this mind to how you're going to manage that, seeing that no production is going to happen. Certainly not until next year, but it could be much longer. How that red mud situation, which continues to be a bother for communities when there is drought, but more so now that the plant is going to be locked down, so no moisture will be going inside there. How are we going to address that? Then the other matter has to do with the insurance. You've mentioned $250 million as the ceiling, and that the company will be able to utilize those resources to deal with reestablishing the plant, correcting what has been damaged, but also to deal with day-to-day expenses. And you've mentioned that the cost per day of the operations is $500,000 per day. So you can see how quickly you can utilize that $250 million. So it is conceivable that you're not going to have enough resources to get back the plant to full operations, which has significant implications for the government. Jamaica has 2 partners. The government in cap, 45%, and Noble has 55%. We know that Noble has been having serious financial problems over the last 3 years. Are they going to be able to contribute to the restoration effort? Will the government be able to take up its 45% commitment, its liability? These are important financial issues that require serious analysis, because, Minister, you have expressed confidence in this incorporation facility, and many of us are still not clear as to how this arrangement is going to work. You've spoken about getting the Jamaican people involved in ownership, but I don't see that this is going to be an asset with tremendous value at this time. Are people out there willing to buy? No. So you can cut your costs, your losses, because losses will be incurred. You do have existing contracts that you're going to be unable to service. You people have pre-purchased alumina that they're not going to get. How are those financial issues being addressed? So it is far more than just the stoppage of the plant and the restoration of the plant. There are some deep financial implications and issues that arise and for which the Minister of Finance must be nervous about. So Minister, one other thing, the plant recently benefited from a new energy arrangement. New Fortress Energy has established a natural gas facility that operates as cogeneration. So it produces electricity that it sells to the grid and also produces heat or steam that is utilized at the plant. I'm wondering, again, these things are subject to greater analysis. There are two things. When we had envisaged LNG being an acceptable, reliable source of electricity, there was a concept, Minister, of enabling the plant, in this case New Forest Energy, to bring in LNG to, by this process, to transform it into gas, to generate tremendous cool, what we call the cryogenic energy that comes off it, that can enable air conditioning and cold storage. We haven't seen any of that happening since LNG has been utilized in Jamaica. We're not seeing the spin-off, almost free cooling that we anticipated. And I'm wondering if there is an opportunity here for businesses in the area that might need cold storage, whether or not there's a contemplation that they might benefit from this latent facility that is associated with the technology from transforming liquefied natural gas into gas. And then there's also the opportunity, I believe, of the steam that is now being wasted. There are farmers in the area. Many of them have chicken that they produce. They need steam to do plucking, etc. I'm thinking aloud. But I believe that there might be some opportunity in the surrounding communities for the utilization of the steam that the plant will not be using now, but will be generated because electricity is being produced by New Fortress. Just some thoughts for what it is worth, but I do wish the government well, because we as taxpayers might have to be called upon to assist. Thank you, Minister.
Madam Speaker, I thank the member from East Kingston and Port Royal for his words of encouragement and his faith in this administration to carry through the reconstruction. I have taken note of his thoughts and suggestions and will take them into consideration. He's a member of the Mining Development Council, which will be meeting very soon, and we will delve down a little bit more. But, Madam Speaker, just like you, as a man of faith and a believer in God, I would end by encouraging my brother from Port Royal and East Kingston, for him to read Genesis 26:24 and Ruth 3:11. But I will also enlighten him with 1 Chronicles 28:20. Fear not, nor be dismayed, for the Lord God will be with you. That's my faith.
Madam Speaker, can I ask my church brother, when does he plan to make a statement on the Airports Authority investment in First Rock? The Minister of Finance confirmed in the House 2 months ago that the investment breached the ministry's own guidelines. It breached their own internal investment policy. The minister has made 3 statements, but there has been nothing forthcoming on this particular issue. So I asked the minister, when does he plan to speak on that specific issue?
Madam Speaker, let me assure the member from Southeast St. Andrew that I will speak in due course.
Just before we go to the agenda, I did say yesterday that the PAAC would meet on Thursday of this week. It will not meet on Thursday of this week, but the PAAC will meet on Tuesday next week at 10 o'clock. Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Revert to the agenda. Announcements.
Laid on the table of the House today are the following: Investigation Division Special Report, read the use of the emergency contracting method by public bodies for 2015-2019, and certified appropriation account head 28,030 for the Administrator General's Department for the year 2018-2019.
Bills brought from the Senate, petitions, papers, reports from committees, notices of motions given orally, questions and answers to questions, motions that may be made at the commencement of public business requiring notice, motions relating to sittings of the House, motions for leave to introduce bills, presentation of bills without leave of the House first obtained, public business. Public business.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, on the public business, we will go directly into the state of constituency debate, Madam Speaker. We have three presenters today: the Honorable Norman Dunn, MP, St. Mary Southeast, Mrs. Anne-Marie Vaz, MP, Portland Eastern, and Mr. Robert Chin, Madam Speaker, MP, Manchester Southern. So at this time, Madam Speaker, those will be the presenters under the constituency, state of constituency debate on the public business.
Dr. Dunn.
Permission, Madam Speaker, to speak from a seat other than my own. Madam Speaker, before I go into my presentation, I'd like to say it's an honor to sit beside Robert Montague,
Amen.
my colleague and fellow St. Marian.
That's right. That's right.
So thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to address this Honorable House and to allow me to confirm that despite the challenges brought by COVID-19 pandemic, the great constituency of Southeast St. Mary is strong and in safe hands.
Here, 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 here. That's right. That's right.
Madam Speaker, this is possible because of God and His supreme grace. And secondly, the leadership of the Most Honorable Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, for steering the ship of prosperity through these rocky and tumultuous times.
That's right.
The Honorable Minister of Finance, Dr. Nigel Clark, for expertly managing the finances of this country, and the Honorable Christopher Tufton, our capable and knowledgeable Health and Wellness Minister, and to the Cabinet of Jamaica for carefully crafting the decisions that they make. I would like to place on record my appreciation to the Honorable Prime Minister for the opportunity to serve as the Minister of State in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. And, Madam Speaker, it has been my absolute pleasure to work with Minister Audley Shaw, Manayard from Manchester, and the team from the ministry. It has been a wonderful experience. Madam Speaker, I am most grateful to my family, particularly my 92-year-old mother, my sisters, and my constituency team, who works daily to get things done. I want to acknowledge the hard-working and dedicated councillors, Councillors Richard Query, Mayor and Councillor for the Richmond Division, Councillor Hugh Bryan of the Anota Bay Division, Councillor Lenford Danvers of the Castleton Division, and Councillor Caretaker Joseph Robinson, who is working tirelessly and who we are confident that will take home the seat in the next parish council election from the Jamaica Labour Party. I'd also like to mention Councillor Freeman, former mayor of the Belfield Division. But you have to give me the opportunity to do it.
Don't rush it.
Most importantly, my deepest and sincere gratitude to my constituents of South East St. Mary, who resoundingly re-elected me to serve as their Member of Parliament for a second time with a margin of victory of 1,753, thus creating history in South East St. Mary.
You need to thank Sugar Shane too.
I stand here with great pride, Madam Speaker. I am from the people of South East St. Mary.
That's right.
Born and shaped by their dreams,
That's right.
their aspirations,
That's right.
their love,
Amen.
and their trust.
Yes.
A trust that I will never and not take for granted.
Here. Good one.
Madam Speaker, did you know that the great constituency of South East St. Mary has produced a speaker for this House? Alvarez.
Amen. I'll sign it.
Madam Speaker, when I last gave an update on this great constituency into this Honourable House, I highlighted how the lack of vision by the PNP, who held the seat for 23 years, resulted in stagnation. Madam Speaker, the people lost hope. They became numb to the realities that they found themselves in. So much despair began to set in. Bad roads were the order of the day. Little or no employment, a regulated water system, or none in many places because of lack of investment, no proper sporting facilities, amongst other things. But today, Madam Speaker, I am confident, and I confidently stand here to inform you and members of this Honourable House that in just over 3 years, the constituency of South East St. Mary, despite the crippling effect of the pandemic, is making steady and deliberate stride to regain its former glory. Madam Speaker, the state of the constituency of South East St. Mary is strong and in good hands.
Amen.
Madam Speaker, it was Malcolm X that said, education is a passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today.
That's right.
In education, Madam Speaker, we have been assisting our young people to get quality education and to bridge the digital divide with the provision of devices. We are challenged, however, because of the lack of affordable internet. In addition to the lack of access, vandals are stealing the cables twice in the community of Aleppo, affecting students and teachers living in that area. Thieves have been cutting cables in Zion Hill and Richmond, affecting the Zion Hill Primary School and the St. Mary Technical High School. So today, Madam Speaker, as my colleague Bobby Montague would say, I am appealing to the 2-foot puss to stop stealing the cables. Madam Speaker, we continue to suffer from low internet penetration and low connectivity.
That's true.
Right across the constituency. This is a major concern. However, I am happy.
Yes.
I'm happy
Yes.
that Minister Vaz announced yesterday a massive rollout of wireless hotspot service and look forward to full coverage, eventually in all areas of Southeast St. Mary. Currently, we are working with USF to establish hotspots in Broadgate to benefit the community and the students of the Maho Hill Primary School and in the town of Richmond, as well as in Friendship Gap to benefit the residents and students. Madam Speaker, in my effort to reduce the digital divide, I'm happy to report that through the work of my office, 130 students benefited from device under the Own Your Own Device program by the Ministry of Education. I would like to thank the Minister for that.
Good minister, good minister.
541 students and teachers received device under the e-learning Jamaica tablet initiative.
Minister, love you.
More than 50 tablets have been distributed to constituents from my senior program. And 100 more tablets are expected to be delivered under the Jamaica Digital Device Program. This means, Madam Speaker,
Very good.
over 1,000 students will now have or receive a device for online learning. Additionally, Madam Speaker, over 50 tertiary students have received tuition grant to begin or to complete their tertiary education. $2 million have been allocated for the purchasing of books and accessories that will benefit over 500 students and thus will ease the burden on their parents. Madam Speaker, I strongly believe in the work environment of our teachers and students and that they should be comfortable and conducive to learning. To this end, I've installed energy-efficient air conditioning units in the principal offices at Rock River Primary School, Belfield Primary School, and Notre Bay Primary School, St. Mary Technical High School. And we are currently in the process of air conditioning, Madam Speaker, a grade 6 classroom at the Rock River Primary School to test the output of these students in passes and general conduct, amongst other parameters. Madam Speaker, do you remember, because of the heat in classrooms, we as students used to fall asleep after lunch, resulting, of course, in some learning loss. The heat, man. If successful, Madam Speaker, and with the assistance of the Ministry of Education, we could replicate this across Jamaica.
Yes.
The principal office in Enfield is next in line to be air conditioned tomorrow, Thursday.
Yes.
Other schools will give attention in the future. Madam Speaker, did you know that Beresford Hammond, one of Jamaica's greatest artists, is a son of Southeast St. Mary? And speaking about music, Madam Speaker, I am happy to report that after receiving a generous donation of musical equipment from the Chase Funds with the assistance of the Honorable Minister Olivia Babsy Grange, we have secured an agreement with Heart NSTA to create a program to assist artistic constituents in sound engineering, keyboarding, and drumming. This program will begin shortly. But, Madam Speaker, this will complement other programs. such as the setting up of our own radio station, Radio Southeast FM.
That's right. That's right.
And a music studio, which we intend to do this financial year.
Yes, man, I guide you.
This will assist in education, as well as the creatives in Southeast St. Mary, with an opportunity to develop their talent in broadcasting and music production. So, Madam Speaker, in education, as you can see, Southeast St. Mary is in strong and safe hands.
That's right.
In my last social and economic update, I called on the Factories Corporation of Jamaica to reconsider the sale of lands in the Fort George area in Anatomy, and to instead build manufacturing spaces for our entrepreneurs to grow their business and to provide for their families. Today, Madam Speaker, I am happy to report that the FCJ has responded favorably, and we are now in discussion to establish a modern facility in Anatomy. So, Madam Speaker, as we want to build on the great legacy of our entrepreneurs in Anatomy and in Southeast St. Mary, which is known in particular for sweetie production. Yes, Madam Speaker, sweetie. There are many persons who are engaged in this activity, and with the assistance of JBDC, we intend to build on the capacity of these individuals, as well as for JBDC to offer management services to the facility to ensure sustainability of that investment. That's right. We want to produce quality products to distribute to our hotels, to our pharmacies, supermarkets, under a single A-based sweetie brand, thus expanding this local cottage industry. That's right. So, Madam Speaker, it is also my intention to establish a heavy-duty equipment training facility where young persons can be trained to operate tractors, trailers, forklifts, excavators, bulldozers, etc., for jobs both locally and internationally. This training is or will be done in partnership with a local entrepreneur who is already in Southeast St. Mary. Madam Speaker, Mahatma Gandhi once said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. In social intervention, Madam Speaker, we agree that the pandemic has exacerbated the challenges faced by many Jamaicans, especially the vulnerable amongst us. We have, however, been able to minimize the impact by taking advantage of a number of social intervention programs by the government. Under the innovative We Care program designed by Dr. Nigel Clark, over a 3-day period, the Anatomy multipurpose complex was transformed into an application center where elderly constituents were assisted with computers and internet supply in order to apply for their benefit. Additionally, Madam Speaker, approximately 200 individuals were identified, assessed, and submitted to the Ministry of Labor and Social Security to receive monetary benefits under their short-term poverty alleviation program. Madam Speaker, these cash grants help many persons within the constituency, including small business entrepreneurs, to bounce back and to keep their business afloat. Madam Speaker, we have assisted more than 2,500 constituents, mainly the elderly and the vulnerable, with care packages. We continue to offer this assistance. In community and infrastructure development, Madam Speaker, we are in discussion with the Housing Agency of Jamaica and the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, MUREC, to construct a housing scheme in Epsom in partnership with private developers to ensure affordable housing solutions are available. We are also working with the National Land Agency and MUREC to regularize settlement in Dover, Cape Clear, and Devon Penn. Madam Speaker, we have benefited from the Hope Housing Program and continue to identify constituents who are in need to build somewhere so that they can call their home.
Madam Speaker, I ask that the member be allowed, given additional time, to complete his presentation.
The The question before the House is that the member be given additional time to complete his presentation. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Dr. Dunn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, members of the House. So, Madam Speaker, we have benefited from the Hope Housing Program and continue to identify individuals who are in need of assistance to build somewhere to call their home. Madam Speaker, the Pitta sisters in Anatomy received three-bedroom units under the program, and we have submitted an additional 5 constituents to receive benefits. Just last week, Madam Speaker, we finalized plans with the Jamaica Social Investment Fund in partnership with the Jamaica Public Service to wire and regularize home in Cane Lane, Bank, and local government, thank you, sir, to wire house in Cane Lane and Bank Lane in Anatomy.
That's correct.
In this phase, we will see 100 homes getting properly wired, free of cost, passed, and will be connected to the JPS grid. And I want to thank Minister Mackenzie, and he's coming to do the walkthrough with me on Thursday. We are also looking to construct a perimeter fence at the Anatomy Cemetery that sits on the A1 highway between Port Maria and Portland. I believe, Madam Speaker, that the final resting place of our loved ones should be well kept.
Hear, 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 hear.
Madam Speaker, did you know, Madam Speaker, did you know that Ms. Cook, retired clerk of these houses, is from the great constituency of Southeast St. Mary? Anatomy.
That's correct.
And I therefore would like to just pause here to pay tribute to Ms. Cook for her sterling and dedicated service to the House of Parliament, and wish her a successful journey as she walks on this new road in retirement. And Madam Speaker, as we speak about road, in the era of roadworks, in addition to a regular patching program, we're able to effect repairs to the Richmond Bridge that was partially destroyed by heavy rains. Today, I'm happy to report that the bridge is 95% completed and will be open properly to regular traffic soon. Special acknowledgement must be given to Minister Warmington, who heard the cries of the residents, Councillor Richard Query and myself, and came to tour the areas, including the bridge, to see the damage firsthand. In Clonmel, work has begun to repair a collapsed drain brought on by years of neglect, Madam Speaker, resulting in a huge hole developing in the middle of a highway. I would like to thank again Minister Warmington and the NWA team for getting this collapsed drain repaired. We were able, Madam Speaker, to rehabilitate the May River Road thanks to RADA and the former Minister of Agriculture, Minister Green. And we look forward now with Minister Shaw to ensure that we can complete some more farm roads in Southeast St. Mary. The farmers are eternally grateful. While students and teachers of the May River School can now travel comfortably to and from school. So, Madam Speaker, the records will again show that in my last constituency debate, I committed to the people of George's Hope that I would repair their road. I'm happy to update this Honourable House that through the generosity of the Carib Cement Company, work has begun in upgrading this road using cement. I am now working with RADA to repair roads in Camberwell to enable the movement of farm produce from George's Hope and Camberwell areas to market. Madam Speaker, we are working on getting other roads repaired. I have spoken and we have been working with Minister Warmington and NWA, and we have provided estimates for road from Border to Coffee Gully, Brenner to Sioux River, Belfield Works to Orange River entrance on the A1 road, as well as the section in Gibbs Hill that was not repaired. We hope that attention will be given to some of these roads as they serve as alternate routes to junction when it's impassable. The Mount Regale, the Clark Castle Road are in deplorable condition, and I will be working with Minister Warmington and NWA to ensure that the length-man maintenance program is put in place and that continuation of the upgrading of the junction road also takes place. This main road, Madam Speaker, runs through a rainforest and deteriorates quickly, especially during heavy rainy season. This is an important road that links Kingston, St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. On the matter of sports development, Madam Speaker, we upgraded the sports facilities in Anata Bay Multipurpose Complex and Fort George, and the sporting facility now in Lewis Store is scheduled to be upgraded next. On the matter of water, Madam Speaker, water continues to be one of the sore points of Southeast St. Mary. We have a mixture of water provided by the Municipal Corporation and NWC. With NWC, we have what is called a regulated water system that serves sections of Richmond and Enfield and all of the Belfield Division. Madam Speaker, I must admit, this is a very harsh system. If you're given water once per week for a few hours, and if something happens and you're not able to get the water, you'll have to wait the following week. And if in the following week, if something happens, you still have to wait for another week. And that's why we mentioned to it as a very harsh system. However, Madam Speaker, water is usually trucked in the area, but as you can imagine, it will never be enough. I'm therefore working to improve the availability and consistent water supply to homes of these residents. Now, Madam Speaker, I must admit that there is a proposed water project from Trove that has been stuck in the procurement pipeline for a while. The project is expected to relieve the burden of the regulated water system in the Belfield, Lewis Store, Clonmel, Richmond area, and I'll be working with NWC to fast-track this project so that people can benefit on it. On a brighter side, Madam Speaker, I am happy to report that the residents of Belfield Line, Mackay Hill and Guava now have potable water in their homes after 30 years. Madam Speaker, we want to build out water storage capacity across the constituency in anticipation of the challenges brought by climate change. In fact, Madam Speaker, I have started a wayside water improvement project where communities are given 1,000-gallon water tank to improve their local community water systems. The communities of Devon Pen, Macy Yard, along the Scottsall Road, the lower section of Gibbs Hill, and Chesterfield has already received their water tank, and plans are in place to deploy water tanks in Friendship, Top Linster, and other communities. So as we look towards the future, Madam Speaker, it is my intention to work with the National Water Commission and Rural Water to expand water supply in areas such as Paisley, Luna, Grazing, Camberwell, Friendship, and the wider Castle area. Madam Speaker, despite the pandemic, the great constituency of Southeast St. Mary is strong and in safe hands. Madam Speaker, again, did you know that Mr. Wesley Hughes, former head of the PIOJ, is a son of Southeast St. Mary? And speaking of PIOJ, Madam Speaker, through the work we are currently constructing a seawall to reduce the risk of erosion in the Anata Bay coastline and reclaim the lands taken by the sea to prevent flooding. Phase 1 has already started, and we are hoping to get Phase 2 and Phase 3 underway shortly so that we can make the entire coastal area of Anata Bay resilient. Once the seawall is completed, Madam Speaker, it's my intention to work with Food for the Poor and other agencies to build the fishing village to provide cold storage capacity and retail space where locals can purchase seafood in a clean and sanitary place. So not only are we assisting our fisher folk, Madam Speaker, some 100 constituents have been assisted with farming equipment and supplies through our CDF Economic Enablement Program and Production Incentive Program administered by RADA. Madam Speaker, our officers distributed water tanks, fertilizers, seeds, seedlings, cutting, digging tools, baby chicks, and so on to assist our farmers. Madam Speaker, on top of this, I'll be distributing $700,000 worth of equipment to farmers, both existing and new, across in Southeast St. Mary. So, Madam Speaker, we cannot end without speaking about vaccination. Vaccination, Madam Speaker, saves lives. And I repeat it, vaccination saves lives. There's no dispute about that. And I'm encouraging all my constituents to get vaccinated. We cannot afford to wait. Our economy depends on us quickly returning to some level of normalcy so that we can assist our residents, our citizens even more. So before I go further, however, Madam Speaker, I would really like to take this opportunity to offer my own personal condolences to persons who have lost loved ones during this pandemic. It has been a very difficult time for all of us. But I'd also like to thank the healthcare workers that has worked tirelessly during this pandemic. And my office continues to work with the St. Mary Health Department to coordinate activities on this. So while I'm on the topic of health, Madam Speaker, I am happy to report that the building out of the additional wing at the Montague Hospital is ongoing, and constituents will soon benefit from a new lab, orthopedic department, and an administrative department. I want to take this opportunity to recommend the upgrading of the Montague Hospital to a Type B from a Type C, because this hospital has been shown to be of tremendous importance to citizens far away from Portland to Western St. Mary. And I also want to place on record my appreciation to the leadership of the Montague Hospital for the work that they have been doing in keeping the operation of that facility to very high standards. We hope to begin construction of a new clinic in Belfield in the near future and to bring more investment to Southeast St. Mary in business processing, light manufacturing, and agriculture. In concluding, Madam Speaker, I am here representing the hopes and dreams of the people of Southeast St. Mary. They are looking to me, their member of parliament, their son, their friend, to help them to achieve their dreams, and I will not stop until this is done. Madam Speaker, Southeast St. Mary is strong and in safe hands. It is in safe hands in the building and repairing of bridges. It is in safe hands in the repairing and construction of new roads. It is in safe hands in the provision of housing solution and housing assistance. It is in safe hands in water development. Southeast St. Mary is in safe hands in the provision of sporting facility. It is in safe hands in the upgrading of our healthcare facilities. It is in safe hands for farmers as we provide tools to improve their productivity. And it is in safe hands in education and in providing a comfortable environment for principal and students to learn. It is in safe hands, Madam Speaker, in improving the lives of the people of Southeast St. Mary. Madam Speaker, the great constituency of Southeast St. Mary is strong and in great hands. I thank you.
So, Madam Speaker, our next presenter is Mrs. Anne-Marie Valls, MP Portland Eastern, and she will be followed by Mr. Robert Chin, Member of Parliament for Manchester Southern. Thank you.
Boom. Madam Speaker, permission to speak from a seat other than my own.
Permission given.
Madam Speaker, I must begin by thanking God for his overwhelming blessings and for being a fortress in this most difficult period. I would like to thank my East Portland family for re-electing me as their representative for a second time. I must thank the Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness for his guidance, continued confidence, and trust in me. I want to thank my beloved Pumps. You are my rock. My 5 children who inspire me daily to be a better person, and my extended family and friends. Mayor Paul Thompson, Councillor caretakers Rosemary Lindo and Emile Rodney, thank you. Extra special thanks to my beloved Action and team. Headed by Dwayne Stevenson. This is the team, Madam Speaker, that has ensured that Action and is not just a name, but a movement for real and lasting change in East Portland. To my social media team, I say thank you. To our workers, my supporters across Jamaica and the world, and to my social media supporters on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, thanks for your continued support. To my grandma, Eva May, thank you for the strength that you have imparted in me over the many years you were with us. To my colleagues, and most importantly, the 14 women who sit among this honorable house who continue to push the envelopes and break barriers, thanks for your support and encouragement. Madam Speaker, I consider it a privilege, an honor, and a complete joy to be again standing in this House of Representatives, presenting my second constituency debate as Member of Parliament for Portland Eastern. My first presentation was made in 2019 following the by-elections. Many thought it would be short-lived, but my hard work, dedication, and commitment to the people of Eastern Portland has seen them re-elect me as their Member of Parliament in the recently concluded election. Many believe that my tenure as an MP would be fleeting. But to borrow the words of Robert Nesta Marley, them a got tired to see me face. Madam Speaker, 2 years ago, many men doubted that I would ever set foot in this house as an MP. Yet here I stand today, and like a relic of the past, I would ask, where are they now? I now begin my debate, entitled Recovery and Representation Through Service. Madam Speaker, we have lost 2 sitting councillors, Mr. Irvin Louis Brown and Mr. Deron Wood, to COVID-19. Gone but never forgotten. We grieve for them and for their families, and for the members of their divisions who love them dearly. This pandemic has caused great economic hardships for all, especially our most vulnerable. I am thankful to the government for their continued guidance and support for our people during this most difficult time. Special thanks to all our healthcare workers. We understand that they are overburdened at this time, so we try to support them in every way we can. We aided their preparations for the pandemic by constructing the COVID-19 triage area in front of the Port Antonio Hospital. In collaboration with the Member of Parliament for West Portland, Minister Darrell Vaz, we provided free transportation for healthcare workers during the most critical phase of the pandemic. We also provide healthcare workers with care packages. Thanks to the government of Jamaica for the island-wide financial assistance through the CARE and other COVID relief programs. These initiatives were further boosted yesterday by some $33 billion under the Serve Jamaica program. We thank the Minister of Finance for again being strategic and calculated in his fiscal duties. With the assistance we received before, we provided free transportation to vaccination sites, provided care packages for indigent, elderly, and shut-in, distributed thousands of face masks and sanitizers through public and private government funds. The action team and I make it our responsibility to go into the communities to encourage our people to get vaccinated. We have to work together to recover from this monster. Each of us have a part to play. Get vaccinated so we can get back to life. Madam Speaker, education is my passion and has been at the forefront of my endeavors as a Member of Parliament. COVID-19 has crippled our traditional education system and kept our children out of school for over a year. We need our children back in school. Therefore, I urge Jamaicans to get vaccinated. Education entails so much more than a child sitting in front of a device being taught by a teacher. I have supported the development of education through my CDF and private donors, and also through the Universal Service Fund. From 2019 to 2021, we have set aside $13.5 million towards education, which included distribution of book vouchers, assisting with college tuition, and distribution of over 500 tablets. Through the Universal Service Fund, we have installed free Wi-Fi in the town of Port Antonio, which has given students greater access to online school. The Minister of MSET delivered, in his delivery yesterday, spoke to the urgency of getting island-wide connectivity. We look forward to having 3 additional spots in Breastwork, Prospect, and Brownbrook to increase our internet access to our disadvantaged children in my rural constituency. I will be at your office soon, sir. Very shortly. Madam Speaker, we also, through the One Jamaica Foundation, did infrastructural upgrade on the Moortown and the Nonsuch Basic School. Madam Speaker, opportunities for youth's traditional advancement have come to a practical standstill here in East Portland since we are a part of the tourism belt. We have suffered due to the drastic and sudden decrease in visitor arrival. Despite the circumstances, we have pressed on by engaging our youth in government programs which provide training, on-the-job experience, and a stipend. These programs include the YSEP program, the HEART program, the CAP program, internship with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, of which 5 of our youths benefited this period. Madam Speaker, we also continue to distribute female care packages for young girls which give them basic female hygiene products. Additionally, the massive road work on the South Coast Highway project has provided temporary employment for youth. There are several other projects to come on stream to provide more permanent employment. A major one is the Bound Book development. This is a development which will see to 14,000 square feet of businesses which will include public and private businesses. This is a partnership between Factories Corporation and the National Insurance Fund. Of the 140,000 square feet of business space, 65,000 will be allotted for BPO. This is expected to employ at least 3,000 of our people. Groundbreaking is slated for January 2022. Madam Speaker, as a daughter of the soil, farming has made me who I am today. The hardships faced by them are known to me personally. Therefore, I have ensured that everything is done to increase agricultural production in East Portland and improve the livelihood of our farmers and fisher folks. I am happy to say that this JLP administration-led government is ensuring that farmers and fisher folks have access to insurances both for themselves and for their property. Through partnership with Sagicor, a move welcomed by all parties. Personally, I have taken advantage of this for 50 of my hard-working farmers by signing them up for the Sagicor AgroCare plan and paying the premium for 1 year for each of them with benefits of $1 million each. Through RADA, we distributed fertilizers, and we have also distributed pot wire for our fisher folks. I also want to mention that I've committed $500,000 from my CDF to contribute to the development of a vertical marine farm through the Alligator Head Foundation in collaboration with the UK government. This vertical farm would be a new source of income as it will be used to farm oysters, blue crab, and Irish moss. We have provided financial assistance to 2 successful farmers' markets, which were organized and executed by the Social Development Commission. We also assisted through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security 20 of our persons going on the farm work program. Madam Speaker, at the top of the list of complaints is the horrific road conditions in my constituency. Even though we have done extensive road repair over the past 2 years, there can be no substantial economic development without proper roads. To this end, we have lobbied and undertaken over 15 road rehabilitation and repairs, including 2 farm roads. Madam Speaker, I must also mention that we included in these roads are 2 farm roads. It is also important for me to mention here that 4 of the 6 leg of the Portland leg of the South Coast Highway has begun and 2 has gone to tender. Not being someone to focus on what has been done, but what needs to be done, I take this opportunity to request on behalf of my people that Tom's Hope Road, which was put on hold due to the pandemic, be given priority. Continuation of the Kent to Millbank Road, which is a riverbed. The Norris scheme, Madam Speaker, built over 15 years ago, has never had paved roads. My constituents every day, every week, have been crying out this development is suffering. We are also requesting just 300 meters more to complete Johnstown Road as a matter of urgency. Might I suggest that road maintenance for East Portland be done on a monthly basis due to the weather pattern? Approved projects need to be expedited from the estimate stage to when the works are carried out. because sometimes roads need patching.
Madam
And
Speaker?
because of the length of time, we have to do full rehabilitation.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I now ask that the standing orders be suspended to enable the Speaker to continue her speech to its conclusion.
Members, the question before the House is that the member be given sufficient time to complete her presentation. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, I thank you and my colleagues. Water is life, and water another major complaints of my constituents, especially in this pandemic. To this end, we have successfully lobbied for several projects geared towards providing reliable water for my people. This includes the Windsor Water Project, thanks to the Jamaica Social Investment Fund in the Rio Grande Valley. This is far advanced at a cost of $70 million and will be supplying water to residents of Windsor, including Lower Seamans Valley, Piggery, Chocolate Walk Road, Little Johnstown, and sections of Lower Moortown. We got approval for a second water shop, thanks Minister Mackenzie. Pipes were laid and replaced in Norwich Heights to provide water once per week now. We provided 13 1,000-gallon tanks for community use. The National Water Commission has completed drilling a well at Grants level, and this should be commissioned by February next year. Shortly after this well was drilled, rehabilitation work commenced on one of the previous wells to further improve the water supply. Drilling should start on another well at Grants level next month. When these works are completed, we should see drastic improvement in the water supply in the town of Port Antonio. Pipes are also being laid along the South Coast Highway from Hector's River to Port Antonio. This will replace the old pipes which are leaking and enable our customers to get more reliable water. We have several projects that we will be lobbying for to get up and running to eliminate the water crisis across Portland Eastern. Also, with private donation and our personal funds, we bought a water truck. Madam Speaker, just today, that truck provide free water. Just today, that truck had to go to the Sansan police station because of the water crisis we are having in Eastern Portland. Madam Speaker, climate change is real and a major concern for my constituents. To this end, I'm thrilled to say we are at the advanced stage of establishing a recycling depot with Recycling Partners of Jamaica. With their assistance, we also place recycling cages and drums throughout the constituency. We demolished and rebuilt a garbage skip at the hospital, and we'll be rebuilding a second one at Naylor's Hill. I am appealing to the citizens to protect the gains we have had by protecting the infrastructure that we put in. Madam Speaker, sadly, the garbage collection is at a crisis level in East Portland. Ideally, the constituency should have 7 trucks due to population size, distance, and distance from the dump. Unfortunately, we only have 3. I am beseeching the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, if it is at all possible, to provide my constituency with at least 1 more truck. Madam Speaker, there is no greater evidence of climate change than the erosion of our coastline. We have been experiencing that in many places many parts of the constituency, but especially in the town of Port Antonio. We requested assistance. The NWA has toured the area, and we are awaiting funding to repair our shoreline. I take this opportunity to request a quarterly drain cleaning program to maintain the works we have started to keep the drains in Port Antonio and other areas clean. We have seen and proven with the works over the last 2 years Through soliciting funding from various agencies, we have been able to prevent the usual massive flooding in the town of Port Antonio. Madam Speaker, my main goal as a Member of Parliament is to encourage, promote, and to facilitate economic and social development. To this end, we have lobbied for several projects to facilitate this. These projects include organizing the free mammogram program for 2 years. The aim was to have a mammogram machine in Portland since last year, but due to COVID-19, this plan did not materialize. Therefore, this October, another 200 ladies will be transported to Kingston to benefit from the free mammogram program, making this 3 consecutive years of the program. Thanks to the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, the Port Antonio Infirmary was expanded. The new expansion will house a male ward at a cost of $43 million. Thanks to Minister Mackenzie, we handed over 2 indigent houses to 2 families. We sponsored the Anne-Marie Vaz Women's League twice, assisted over 330 small businesses through the Ministry of Labor's Poverty Reduction Program and the CDF's Economic Enablement Program. We have successfully lobbied for the construction of 2 ATM, one at Case and the other at the Manchinill Police Station. Communities that participate in sports and recreation develop strong bonds and are safer places, and people who live in them are generally happier. Some of the projects undertaken to this end are as follows. Just Monday, we broke ground for the Carter Park Art, Culture and Entertainment Center. This phase 1 of the project includes extending the spectator stand, changing rooms, meeting rooms, concessionaire, and a removable stage. This project is valued at $23 million. Process has started for the $4.3 billion Pasley Garden Housing Scheme development. Currently, survey work is being done to finalize the subdivision plan. We have rehabilitated the Moortown playfield at a cost of $10 million thanks to the Sports Development Foundation. We built a pocket park through TPDCO Spruce Up program at the Railway Community Center. And I commissioned a spectacular mural painted by local artist Mark Bell, owner of Portland Fine Arts. On December 3rd, 2020, we launched the Smart Healthcare Facility Project at the Port Antonio Health Center, valued at $1.3 million US. This project, funded by the UKAID, is aimed at prioritizing vulnerability reduction and making health care green and safe. A bus shed was built in Norwich, especially for our children. The Anchovy Community Center was rehabilitated and completed at a cost of $4 million. Plans have commenced for the restoration of the Neville Anthony Park through TPDCO, plans are also afoot for a community center and playfield in Fellowship, which will begin by the end of the year. Plans have started for a state-of-the-art transport center to be built in Boundbrook. Madam Speaker, I stand here a part of history-making, the largest group of women ever in Jamaica's parliament. We have in this honorable house, for the first time in history, a woman speaker, a woman deputy speaker, and a woman deputy leader of government business. Madam Madam Speaker, to borrow from my colleague on the other side of the House has never been sweeter. Just last week, a seismic shift took place in the JDF, which appointed Commodore Gorman to become Jamaica's first female Chief of Defense Staff, January 2020. Madam Speaker, I was filled with joy. These are more encouraging signs of the equity we are seeking as women. But we have a far way to go due to the decades of obstacles. I stand here today as someone who faced and continues to face a rocky road, to put it mildly, on my political journey. But I know that change has to come from within. I will push for legislation to be enacted and amended to level the playing field. I take this opportunity to say to my sisters, let us release the indomitable spirit that lies within us Jamaican women. Let us ensure that we widen the path through our collective actions so that our daughters and granddaughters will have an easier path to the equality and equity that we will never stop until we attain. Let us as women seek to build each other up and unite and take our rightful place in all arenas. Madam Speaker, the future is bright in Portland Eastern despite the adversity. I stand here even more committed than ever. Much has been done in the short space of time, but there's so much more to be done. These have been the most trying and difficult times, Madam Speaker, yet we continue to represent the people of Jamaica well. We continue to demonstrate true commitment and leadership, not chaka-chaka leadership. I commend the Prime Minister on his stewardship, along with my colleagues in the cabinet, and to their detractors I say, if you think leading 14 MPs is hard, don't try leading 14 parishes. I thank you all for your continued love, support, and guidance. And in closing, might I remind this honorable House that beautiful speaking could not do all of this, action to that.
Member now from Manchester Southern, MP Mr. Robert Chin.
Madam Speaker, permission to speak from a seat that I don't normally sit at. You see, I'm at a peculiar position in the Parliament where there are too many government members, so they couldn't find enough seats in the regular seats, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I stand to address this House for the first time, as a humble representative of Manchester Southern, many persons are still in shock and awe as to how a candidate can be introduced to a constituency 1 week before nomination day and win by such a convincing margin. To God be the glory, great things he has done. Madam Speaker, permit me to recognize and acknowledge the awesome people of Manchester Southern who are responsible for my presence here in this chamber today. To my divisional leaders, Councillor Isabel Cherry Brown of the Grovetown Division, Councillor Claudia Morant Baker of the Porous Division, Councillor Caretaker Martin Gill of the Alligator Pond Division, Councillor Caretaker Martin Tomlinson of the Newport Division. They have laid a solid foundation of commitment, loyalty, work ethics that made it easy to organize the constituency and become election ready in record-breaking time. To my more than 1,100 party workers for keeping loyal and steadfast to the aims and objectives of the organization. To the electors who did what was necessary to ensure that I was first past the post on election day. These include those who traditionally supported the Jamaica Labour Party, those who formally supported other parties but decided to support us this time around, and special mention must be made to those who supported the other parties but stayed away from the polls. Madam Speaker, the train is getting longer day by day, and we welcome every newly enlightened with open arms. To my family members and friends, in particular, my friends and colleagues from East and West Portland, who stood by me and provided moral, physical, and or financial support in the face of adversity and negativity, as I announced my intention to challenge in a seat that the opposition once considered to be a PNP stronghold. And last, but on no account the least, to the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, the most honorable Andrew Michael Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, for his leadership and guidance through these very turbulent times. The leadership and performance of our Prime Minister convinced the country that we were and still are the best choice to lead the country at this time. The favorability ratings made it much easier to campaign with a solid message of performance, resulting in success at the polls, not only for myself, but for many other candidates. It is my hope, Madam Speaker, as one member alluded to at the beginning of these debates, that these debates are not just an annual academic exercise. I hope and trust that the issues affecting the lives and livelihoods of my people will not fall on deaf ears, but rather serious and urgent attention be given to the plight of the people of Manchester Southern. Madam Speaker, Manchester Southern is one of the largest constituencies in Jamaica with regards to landmass, sharing borders with 6 other constituencies: Southeast St. Elizabeth, Northeast St. Elizabeth, Manchester Northwestern, Central Manchester, Clarendon Northwestern, and Clarendon Southwestern. Madam Speaker, I'm happy to report that I enjoy a great relationship with my neighbors, regardless of whatever color shirts that they may wear. It has 4 parish council divisions and a population of approximately 58,000 people. Madam Speaker, the constituency was ruled for 31 years by another party. And if there's one word that I can use to describe this constituency, it is underdeveloped. There are no major towns, no factories, no financial institutions, no pharmacy, no major employment of labor, no Western Union, or any other remittance services, not even an ATM in the constituency. The condition of the roads are the worst that I've ever seen in my entire life. And the vast majority of the houses do not have running water. Several communities are without electricity. Street lights are needed in every district, and economic activity is restricted mainly to farming. We also have a number of indigent persons who are subjected to substandard condition of living conditions. On the brighter side, though, Madam Speaker, we are wonderful people, hard-working people, who place a strong emphasis on community-based activities. There was one murder in the constituency during the past year, which was one murder too many. We were fearful that the crime was getting out of hand. Madam Speaker, you can imagine that there's a lot of work to be done. And it will take the united effort of all the stakeholders to achieve the standard of living that we desire for the people of Manchester Southern. The constituents have extremely high expectations, some very unrealistic, as everyone expects that their issues are resolved immediately. It still amazes me, Madam Speaker, that there are people in the constituency, especially those who did not support my candidacy, who suddenly notice and even become very vocal that they do not have proper roads, electricity, running water for the past 31 years. Miraculously, they have realized that. I quickly learned that there's a disconnect between what people expect of their elected representatives and the actual duties and responsibilities of a legislator. I quickly learned that members of parliament have a lot of responsibilities but little authority to carry out these responsibilities. I quickly learned that $20 million allocated in the Constituency Development Fund is woefully inadequate to meet expectations of the constituents. I quickly learned that it is inequitable to allocate resources to constituency equally across the board, as it puts members of parliament with 5 parish council divisions at a great disadvantage in comparison to constituencies with only 2 parish council divisions. West Kingston, for example, have 2. And when you give West Kingston work, bushing work, they have to import bush if they want a bush. Madam Speaker, militant with the mandate and determination to serve the people of Manchester Southern, we have been able to assist persons with welfare and economic enablement benefits. care packages to 2,720 beneficiaries. Emergency and relief compassionate grants to 80 beneficiaries. Medical assistance to 25 beneficiaries. Funeral assistance to 38 beneficiaries. Housing repairs to 85 beneficiaries. Economic enablement to 5 beneficiaries. Madam Speaker, we will be providing welfare and economic enablement assistance to approximately 165 beneficiaries during the 2021-2022 fiscal year through the Constituency Development Fund. I am particularly concerned about the number of deaths that we have been recorded in the constituency. The deaths related to the COVID pandemic and the related stress on the people are considered to be the main factors. Manchester Southern, and indeed the political directorate of the entire parish of Manchester, is 100% in support of the vaccination drive which our Prime Minister is leading. Madam Speaker, I believe the quickest way to meet our vaccination target is to take the vaccine to those people who wish to be vaccinated. Every political machinery knows how to find these people, and I would humbly recommend that we provide members of Parliament with 2 mobile units with the required medical staff and mobilization funds of no less than $5 million per parish council division in their respective constituency. And I guarantee that we will be back to our traditional Merry Christmas by December 2021. The political machinery in each constituency know where and how to find these people. Madam Speaker, in the interim, I beseech every Jamaican to follow the COVID protocols, protect yourselves, hand, face, and space, and vaccinate at the first opportunity to do so. Madam Speaker, the roads in the constituency can be placed in 2 categories, bad and worst. The vast majority of the parochial roads are in total disrepair, most of which are very essential to the survival of agriculture. The major road from Warwick into Pewsey Hill, also known as Bussell Lane, has been rendered impassable after the passage of Hurricane Grace. This is a critical road of economic significance to the farmers, not only in South Manchester, but also farmers in South St. Elizabeth, who use that road to take their produce to markets in Kingston and to the shipping ports. This road needs immediate and urgent attention. I will not attempt to speak about all the roads that are in need of repairs, since it will take up all the time that have been allotted for this presentation. However, there are 32 other roads that are in need of urgent repairs, and Madam Speaker, they are in my printed presentation. Madam Speaker, the South Coast Highway Improvement Project is slated to have approximately 14 kilometers of highway passing through the poorest division in the constituency. It is scheduled to be completed by October 2022. We welcome the highway. However, residents along the alignment still complain bitterly about the problems associated with the construction. Several issues related to land settlement, relocation of residents, dust nuisance, noise nuisance, relocation of graves, compensation for damages to homes, and reimbursement of medical expenses are still unresolved. We continue to have dialogue with the contractors and NROC who are taking these issues seriously, I must admit, to have these issues resolved satisfactorily. Some of our constituents benefit from the short-term employment during the construction phase. However, most of the residents are looking forward to seeing the end of the construction so that they can return to their normal, peaceful way of life. Madam Speaker, I continue to advocate for the contractors and our NROC to leave behind some legacy infrastructure projects in the communities which they have disturbed.
Madam Speaker, I now ask that the standing orders be suspended to enable the Speaker to continue his speech to its conclusion.
The question before the House is that the member be allowed sufficient time to complete his presentation. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Member.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the limited resources, we have been able to carry out some amount of roadworks in the constituency during the past 12 months. We were able to rehabilitate sections of the Green Park Road in Plowden, Elliston in French Park, the Cross Keys Health Centre Road, and Mandra Road in Poros. We were also able to carry out some patching of some critical sections of the main thoroughfare, from Gutters to Farmgate at Littis, Lancaster Square to Woodstock, Spurtree Square to Swabies Hope, Warwick Square to section of Grovetown Main Road, and a section of the Harmon to Redberry. Madam Speaker, I'm pleased to report that we have approval to carry out repairs in several areas. Warwick to Pusey Hill, which is a Bussell Lane. Downs to Sear to New Forest. Cross Keys to Cocoa Walk. Smithfield Road, sections of the Grovetown Main Road. The off-road by the United Church in Pusey Hill. Sections of Newport into Pusey Hill. And sections of Plowden, of the Plowden Main Road. Madam Speaker, people of Manchester Southern get excited when they see roads, as we all. And I wish I was best friend with Minister Warmington, so I need to correct that omission. Madam Speaker, I, like many members of this Honourable House, have serious issues with the time that is taken for these works to navigate through the procurement process. We have been waiting for quite a while, and although most people understand, there are some that have become understandably restive. We are looking forward to the day when the procurement process is made more efficient without compromising accountability. Madam Speaker, I'm also pleased that the Essex Valley Irrigation Water Project between Manchester and St. Elizabeth will include repairs to some farm roads in the sections of New Forest, Sea Ear, and Farm Littis districts. Thank you. Madam Speaker, there are many districts throughout the constituency without running water. The last estimate done 10 years ago, it was determined that it would cost approximately $1.2 billion to provide running water to every district in Manchester Southern. In the interim, we continue to do what we can do to have this precious commodity to our citizens. There are parish tanks that can be rehabilitated so that drinking water can be accessed. Farmers on lands in Alvey Food Farm, Naisbury Bottom, Bussell Lane, and other areas have catchment tanks that can be fixed, and we will alleviate some of the water shortage. Madam Speaker, there are 70 districts without water. 70. And I will not read them here now, but they are in my printed report. Happy to report that a pump for the Victoria Town wells was purchased and installed by the NWC at a cost of $12 million, and it is now in operation. the National Water Commission is scheduled to purchase and lay pipes at a cost of $80 million to run between Smithfield and Grovetown, and replacement work to the Cross Keys pumping station, which is now out of commission. The recommissioning of the Cross Keys pumping station will allow water to be supplied towards Rose Corner via Plowden, and NWC is in the contract service procurement phase, and the project is scheduled to be operational by September 2022. Madam Speaker, I've allocated $1,500,000 from the CDF for social water during the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Madam Speaker, in these modern times, there are still a large number of districts in the constituency without electricity supply. This deficiency not only hinders the desired standard of living for the people, but also denies the access to internet services that many children require to participate in online schooling. I hear other communities in Jamaica complain about deliberate lock-offs. However, we have about 17 communities that have no electricity to complain about locking off. Again, I will not list them, but they are in the printed report. Madam Speaker, every single district in the constituency requires street lights. On to education, Madam Speaker. I must use this opportunity to salute all the principals, teachers, other staff members of the 25 schools domiciled in Manchester Southern, who have been readjusting to provide this critical service during this pandemic. I can report that despite the challenges that it came with, the academic staff was able to deliver the lessons in the assigned platforms stipulated by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. However, reaching the students remains our greatest challenge. Through the Constituency Development Fund and other private donations, we were able to provide educational assistance in a number of ways, reaching the most vulnerable in this constituency. Education grants were distributed as follows. CXC and CAPE fees, 21 beneficiaries. Tuition assistance, 20 beneficiaries. Donation to the United Student Movement Council at NCU, 100,000. 175 beneficiaries of tablets. 50 other tablets that were donated to students. And I must thank those who contribute in these additional devices, tablets, laptops, to assist a child in need. School fees to 52 high school students. Tuition to 35 college students. Book vouchers, laptops to 20 schools and tertiary institutions. And we assisted 245 applicants to the Own Your Own Device program, which assisted and submitted, and also recommended 103 beneficiaries to the Serve Jamaica digital program. Madam Speaker, I believe that education is the surest way to break the cycle of poverty. And I encourage performance. I have started a program that offers educational grants to the top performing boy and girl sitting exams, exit exams in each primary school. Madam Speaker, I have allocated $6 million from the Constituency Development Fund for educational activities during the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Agriculture is the main way of life, and most residents in the constituency, hence, greater consideration is necessary to ensure that this critical sector survives. Our farms are extremely volatile. Farmers attempt to farm, but oftentimes they do not reap. Drought, flood rains, disease, predial larceny are just some of the issues that our farmers have to face. Our farmers have suffered major losses in the flood rains in late last year and during the passage of the Hurricane Grace this year. And I continue to do my best to assist our farmers to get back on their feet. Through RADA, we have issued 10 irrigation systems, black drums, which are the storage drums for the town people. The black drums, the storage drum. We issue 59 of them. Irish potato seeds, 58 beneficiaries. Fertilizers, 58 beneficiaries. Agriculture grants to 117 beneficiaries. Madam Speaker, I've committed $2,500,000 from the Constituency Development Fund to assist over 100 farmers during this fiscal year. Madam Speaker, I turn to our social partnership with Jamalco. We enjoy an excellent working relationship with Jamalco. They continue to make an effort to be that good corporate citizen, giving back to the communities in which they operate. Through partnership with Jamalco, they will be making approximately 150 acres of land available to lease to small farmers at Peppercorn Rate. There are 2 greenhouse projects that are currently under construction, one in Mansfield and the other in Farnoff. A unique feature of these projects is that they will have their own water harvesting facility. And additionally, 60 acres of cassava will be planted, then leased to the small farmers as a turnkey kind of business operation. So they don't have to go through the initial part, which is the most volatile part of the cassava planting. We'll plant it for them and then lease it to them. So this is an excellent initiative for the farmers in South Manchester. Jamalco is also committed to rehabilitating the Harmons Main Road, and we expect that commitment to be honored in the near future. However, given that fire at the Clarendon facility, I think that might be one of those back burner items. Madam Speaker, access to internet in the constituency remains a point of serious concern. There are some students who have not been able to connect to class since the start of this pandemic. Our students are faced with 2 problems: lack of a digital device to connect and the inability to connect with the device that they have. Some parents who put data on their phones to connect are finding it extremely difficult to do so. Happy to report that through the Universal Service Fund, Minister Vaz, we expect that the public Wi-Fi hotspots will be installed in 3 districts and available free of cost to the residents. One in Alligator Pond, Harmons, and Pewsey Hill districts will be the beneficiaries. Again, Madam Speaker, Willow's Wireless Net, an internet company operating out of Mandeville, has committed to invest $30 million to provide access to Wi-Fi service throughout the constituency. Madam Speaker, when this service becomes available, I will ensure that every community center becomes a Wi-Fi hotspot. Madam Speaker, community-based activities are the glue that hold these rural communities together. And I posit that The direct result of this togetherness is the main reason why major crimes are not committed in our constituency. We have several community centers throughout the constituency, and they are critical to the maintenance of the peace and happiness with which we now enjoy. Madam Speaker, my plan is to convert some of these community centers into civic-type buildings where our post offices, training centers, health centers, and basic schools can be facilitated. We have, with regards to new community centers, Madam Speaker, there are 17 communities which already have land to start building or are already started and require resources to complete. I will not list them, but they are in the printed copy of the report. We continue to work with the Social Development Commission to have these centers regularized. Madam Speaker, I envisage that Newport will be the first major town in the constituency. There are already plans to build a civic-type center in the town square on a 12-acre land that was donated by Alpart. The expansion of existing businesses and the establishment of new businesses will contribute to the restoration and development of this town. The Newport division in the constituency remains the only division in the constituency that is without a high school, and this will be incorporated in the development plan. Madam Speaker, through the Tourism Enhancement Fund, we were allocated $189 million for the first phase of the Alligator Pond Beach Development Project. We welcome this initiative and we would like to express gratitude to our forward-thinking Minister of Tourism for this and more tourism initiatives to come. This is a welcome investment as Alligator Pond is already considered to be a tourism zone, and it is expected that the coast road from Alligator Pond to Gus River to be developed into a busy tourist zone with villa-type accommodations in the hills overlooking the sea, and in the short term, a docking port for cruise ships, so that when the Minister of Tourism introduces cruise around the island, stopping at several ports, Alligator Pond can be included. Alligator Pond is already a fishing village, and plans are well advanced to introduce cage fishing in the sea. This will manage the type of fish harvested, increase our supplies, and reduce the need to supply the tourism industry with imported fish. Exciting days are ahead for the Alligator Pond community. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I hope that I have not caused any unnecessary distress or discomfort for the ministries, departments, and agencies with the responsibility to address the myriad of issues surrounding this constituency. I remain undaunted. I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in the service of my fellow citizens. Through all the challenges, I remain committed to serve the people of Manchester Southern. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as ransom for many. I remain a hopeless optimist that all is not lost. We have the commitment, loyalty, zeal, and passion to get past this pandemic. We have a great leader and Prime Minister, a visionary leader, a leader who continues to build the ship while we sail it. Let us use all our united efforts to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and to retire in paradise. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, well, Madam Speaker, I must say that the presentations so far have been excellent. And I want to thank, Madam Speaker, we're going to allow everybody to calm down for a little before. So, Madam Speaker, now that everybody has calmed down, after 3 excellent presentations, the electors did very well. They have selected very good representatives. So at this time, Madam Speaker, I now ask that the debate be suspended.
The question before the House is that the state of the constituency debate be now suspended. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, it is not intended to do any further business today. I therefore ask that the House be adjourned until Tuesday, October 5, 2021 at 2 p.m. But Madam Speaker, I just want to indicate that our speakers next week in the State of Constituency debate will be the Honorable Gillette Cuthbert Flynn of St. Andrew West Rural, Mr. Julian Robinson, St. Andrew Southeast, Mr. Donovan Williams, Member of Parliament, Kingston Central, Honorable Homer Davis, MP, St. James Southern, MP Tova Hamilton, Trelawney Northern, and MP for Western Westmoreland, Mr. Morland Wilson. So we look forward to next week's presentation, Madam Speaker. And so at this time, I ask that the House be adjourned.
Members, please remember that the PAAC meets on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. The question before the House is that we do adjourn until next week, Tuesday at 2 o'clock. This House is now adjourned. Those in favor of the adjournment? Those against? The House is now adjourned.